What if I told you that there is one dreadful night in ancient Israel that sparked a civil war that nearly obliterated an entire tribe? It's so horrifying that most pastors refuse to preach about it. A story so dark that it makes modern horror movies look like children's bedtime tales. This is one of the Bible's most shocking and disturbing stories. A tale so dark that it reads like a crime thriller, yet carries profound lessons about justice, hospitality, and the consequences of moral decay. These are the types of content I create. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. This is from the biblical account in Judges 19, a passage that will shake you to your core and reveal a truth about human nature that remains as relevant today as it was 3,000 years ago. There are those who believe in every whisper, and there are those who don't seem to bother much. Question: what can we gain from this? The setting: a world without rules. Picture this. It's ancient Israel, around 1200 BC. There's no king, no central government, no police force. Just chaos. Think of it like the Wild West, but thousands of years earlier. The Bible tells us that everyone did what was right in their own eyes. Sounds like freedom, right? Well, buckle up, because we're about to see what happens when moral boundaries completely collapse. In this lawless time, we meet a Levite. Think of him as a priest or essentially a religious teacher, living in the hill country of Ephraim. He has a concubine from Bethlehem. Now, a concubine wasn't quite a wife, but more than a servant. Think of it as a secondary wife with fewer legal rights. And their relationship falls apart. But here's where things get messy. She leaves him and goes back to her father's house in Bethlehem. The text says she played the harlot against him, though scholars debate whether this means she was unfaithful or simply left because of marital problems. For 4 long months, she stayed at her father's house. Then this Levite finally decides to go after her, not with anger, but to speak kindly and win her back. He travels to Bethlehem, probably thinking he'll sweep her off her feet with romantic gestures. Her father welcomes him with open arms. Maybe he sees dollar signs, or maybe he genuinely wants them to reconcile. This gives us a glimpse of hope in what becomes a very dark story. I uncover fascinating stories that you might not know about. These are behind the Bible and history's most mind-blowing events that you won't hear from anyone else. Don't miss out on stories that will inspire, shock, and leave you more informed on things you thought you knew. When the Levite arrives in Bethlehem, something beautiful happens. The woman's father welcomes him with open arms. For 3 days, they eat, drink, and enjoy each other's company. The father keeps urging his son-in-law to stay longer. "Refresh your heart with some bread," he says. "Let your heart be merry." This is hospitality at its finest. The father-in-law is essentially saying, don't rush off. Life is about relationships, not schedules. It's a stark contrast to what's coming next. But the Levite is determined to leave. On the 5th day, despite all the father's pleading, he loads up his donkeys and sets off with his concubine and servant. They're heading toward Jebus, that's ancient Jerusalem, when the sun begins to set. Here's where the story takes a crucial turn. The servant suggests they stay in Jebus, but the Levite refuses. Why? Because it's a foreign city, not inhabited by Israelites. He says, "We'll go on to Gibeah, a city of fellow Israelites, people who should share their values." This decision will haunt him forever. Sometimes the very people we trust most are the ones who hurt us deepest. They arrive in Gibeah as darkness falls, sitting in the town square like homeless people. Gibeah is a town belonging to the tribe of Benjamin. Now, you'd think fellow Israelites would welcome a traveling priest, right? Wrong. The entire town ignores them. No one offers them shelter. They're about to spend the night in the dangerous town square when an old man, ironically, not even from that town, offers them shelter. There appears like a ray of hope. He's not even from Gibeah. He's from Ephraim, just like the Levite. This stranger sees their need and immediately offers help. "Peace be with you," he says. "Let all your needs be my responsibility, but don't spend the night in the open square." Notice his urgency? He knows something the Levite doesn't. This town is dangerous after dark. Tired of clickbait and lackluster content? This channel offers a refreshing alternative by diving deep into captivating stories that you'll be eager to share. Unlike other channels, it promises thorough research and engaging storytelling that will leave you amazed. Impress your friends with intriguing tales at your next gathering. By subscribing, you ensure your time is well spent, gaining valuable insights rather than wasting it on superficial content. Don't let inaction cost you. Discover the true value of your time with content that truly enriches your knowledge and conversation skills. But their nightmare is just beginning. As they're enjoying dinner, washing their feet, and feeling safe, the unthinkable happens. The text says, perverted men of the city surround the house, beating on the door. They demand the host bring out the Levite so they can sexually assault him. This scene mirrors the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's meant to show how far Israel has fallen. The old man, following the ancient code of protecting his guest at all costs, offers something unthinkable: his virgin daughter and the Levite's concubine instead. But the wicked man would not heed him. What happens next is too horrific for words. The Levite, this supposed man of God, took his concubine and brought her out to the mob. All night long, these animals brutalized this innocent woman and abuse her all night until dawn. When morning comes, she crawls back to the house and collapses at the door. When the Levite arose in the morning, opens the door, and finds her there, hands on the threshold, silent and still. And here's what's truly chilling about his character. He shows no remorse, no grief, no humanity. "Get up and let us be going." But there's no answer. She's either dead or dying. So he simply loads her onto his donkey like cargo and heads home. But the horror doesn't end there. When the Levite gets home, he does something that sends shockwaves throughout all of Israel. This stunned even the hardened Bible readers. He takes a knife and cuts his concubine's dead body into 12 pieces, one piece for each tribe of Israel. He sends these body parts as a grotesque message, essentially saying, "Look what happened. This demands justice." This may be his sole and desperate means of demanding justice across Israel. It could be the only way he knows to express his disgust, pain, and rage. Imagine receiving a package like that. It's like the most disturbing viral video going out to an entire nation. The Bible says this crime was so horrific that nothing like it had ever been seen in Israel's history. By choosing to engage with our channel, you align yourself with a community of curious minds and truth seekers. Our storytelling stands out because we prioritize accuracy, depth, and a passion for uncovering the unknown. Join those who have found a home for their inquisitive nature right here. This isn't just an ancient horror story. It's a mirror held up to society. When moral leadership fails, when hospitality dies, when people stop protecting the vulnerable, civilization itself breaks down. It shows us what happens when people abandon moral absolutes and decide that truth is whatever they want it to be. When the Bible says everyone did what was right in their own eyes, it's not celebrating individual freedom. It's warning us about the chaos that follows when we reject objective moral standards. Without a moral compass, humans don't become enlightened. They become monsters. The Levite's story teaches us that evil flourishes when good people do nothing. The men of Gibeah weren't born monsters. They became monsters in a society without accountability. This event starkly highlights the moral decay and lawlessness that marked the period when there was no king in Israel. But there's also a lesson about choices. The Levite chose not to stay in the foreign Jebus because he didn't trust outsiders. Yet it was his own people who committed the ultimate evil. Sometimes our prejudices blind us to where real danger lies. This one night of horror led to a civil war that nearly destroyed the entire tribe of Benjamin. Sometimes the consequences of evil extend far beyond the initial act. One woman's suffering became a nation's tragedy. This story doesn't end with Judges 19. The 12 pieces of the concubine's body unite Israel in righteous anger. The immediate consequence was a national outrage. The tribes of Israel were united in shock and anger at the atrocity committed in Gibeah, leading to a demand for justice against the perpetrators from the tribe of Benjamin. Sometimes the consequences of moral collapse are swift and brutal. Yet even in this darkness we see glimmers of light. The Levite's initial desire to reconcile, the father-in-law's hospitality, the old man's kindness and protection. Think this is just ancient history? Look around. Every time a society abandons its moral foundations, we see the same pattern. The strong prey on the weak, women become expendable, violence becomes normalized. The very people who should protect the innocent become complicit in their destruction. The Levite represents religious hypocrisy, someone who knows what's right, but chooses convenience over courage. The men of Gibeah represent unchecked evil in community form. And even the best intentions of the elderly host can still lead to devastating compromises. Judges 19 isn't just a historical account, it's a warning. It shows us that civilization is always just one generation away from barbarism. It reminds us that freedom without moral boundaries isn't liberty. It's license for evil. The unnamed concubine in this story represents all the voiceless victims who suffer when societies lose their moral compass. Her tragic fate calls us to be better, to stand up for the vulnerable, and to never let evil triumph through our silence or indifference. Every week, I share an unbelievable story that you won't want to miss. Once it's live, only subscribers will be the first to know. My stories may not be for everyone, but if you have a passion for the extraordinary, this is the place for you. Each like and subscription fuels more incredible tales and ensures you stay in the loop. This story shows us what happens when society loses its moral compass, when people stop caring for others, those in need, and the weak, and when justice becomes a luxury rather than a right. This story forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. We're all capable of both great evil and great good. The question isn't whether we're better than the people in this story. The question is what we'll choose when faced with our own moral tests. As Edmund Burke once said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. This ancient story echoes through time, reminding us that protecting the vulnerable isn't just nice. It's necessary for civilization itself. Jeremiah 22:16. He defended the cause of the poor and needy. Everything went well for him. Isn't this what it means to know me? Asks the Lord. Open up your mind and further enrich your understanding of well-researched knowledge, which is the foundation of true wisdom. Remember, it's crucial to select content that offers something worthwhile to learn.